Okay. All attendees at all of our workshops will get their names put into a random draw for some free Easthill physio sessions.
So some free physio, who doesn't like that? So for those of you that are in need of a tune-up, this is an awesome prize. So if you're interested in winning, let's try out the chat. Remember, it's in the lower right-hand corner. If you want to win a free physio session with me or one of my colleagues, type win in the chat. Let's see who wants to win this. Type win in the chat box. Joanne wants to win. That's awesome. Sally, nice, win. Jim, good stuff. Sylvia, Phyllis, awesome. Okay, we'll let you guys know soon who the lucky winner of the free physio session is. Okay. Okay, so I want to know, what do you consider the best part of your day and why? Why don't you type in the chat? I want to know what the best part of your guys' day is. Sally, gardening. Roger, morning coffee. Joanne, getting outside, enjoy the sunshine. Joanne, do you guys get sunshine at the coast? Walking the dog, walking, morning walk, gardening. It's gardening season. I think everybody's gardens must be getting a lot of rain up here lately, so that's good. I think the best part of my day today anyways, is getting to be here and interacting with all of you amazing individuals. I know you all came to learn about your core today, but I just wanted to let you guys know I absolutely love doing these workshops because I get to learn so much from you guys as well, and that's exciting for me. So I like doing that. That's the best part of my day today. Okay, so restore your core. So you don't need a flat stomach or six-pack abs to have a strong functional core. So today what we're going to look into is what really is the core, what the design of your core musculature looks like, how to activate your core to spare your spine from excessive load. So those of you that have some previous arthritis or loading issues at the back, this is good. How the core can help you transfer the forces from your upper body to the lower body and vice versa. And then finally, how to retrain the motor control of your core to prevent injuries and perform at your best. So those of you that are, going into golfing or walking or whatever might have you, so you can perform well. So I want to take a poll. So if you look down in the bottom right-hand corner, there's like a triangle, a square, and a circle. I want you all to press on this. We're going to do a poll. So to take the poll, press that button. And I want you to know, what are you hoping to learn about your core? Launch this. So what are you hoping to learn about your core? So A, what muscles are making up the core? B, how to activate your core? C, exercises to strengthen your core? Or D, myths about your core? So go ahead and let me know what you guys are hoping to learn. Exercises, how to activate your core. Yes. Exercises, activation. Exercises, I like that. I like it. Everybody's fit and active. They want to know the exercises, how to fix themselves. That's great. And the core is a buzzword, right? I think everybody is kind of familiar with the word, the core, but we'll go into that a little bit. So that's awesome. So the second question, what is your favorite core exercise? I want to know. So is it a crunch? Is it a plank? A bicycle? Or is another one that I don't even know? I want you guys to tell me. Other. I want to know who typed other. Type in the chat. What's your favorite core exercise? I want to know. You guys always have some pretty interesting good ones that I'm not even familiar with. Planks. Everybody likes planks. Crunches. Nice. We've got a range. There's so many core exercises, right? I think that's one of the problems with the core is there's so many things to do. How are you supposed to know which ones, right? So I'm hopefully going to help guide you guys into through the exercises and which ones I like and some of the ideas. That way you can use some of your own information to do some of your own exercises. Jan says belly button to spine. Ooh, Jan. Good. Okay. You might have to teach us this one coming up, Jan. I might call on you. Okay. And then our third question, our third and final question. So take the poll. What can a strong core help you do? A, prevent back pain. B, improve your balance and stability. C, improve your posture. D, boost your power. Or E, all of the above. You guys are smart. I'm not tricking anybody with that question. Everybody knows all of the above. Yeah, so it does all of the above. You know, it can prevent back pain. It helps for those of us that all of the above, John. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, it does all of those things. So great job. And I'm hopefully going to show you how. So let's chat. If you had a strong functional core, what would you be doing? Or what is not having that strong stability? What is it stopping you, preventing you from doing? I want to know. Type in the chat, guys. I want to know, what would you be doing? Or what is it not allowing you to do? Let's see. I know a lot of people were gardening. Is anybody having issues gardening? Pain on moving, Caroline. Balancing on one foot, Jan. Interesting. Doing weights without hurting yourself, Linda. Phyllis. Running pickleball, bicycle. Walking more. Pain on moving. Yeah, getting up off the floor, Jim. All right. Phyllis, I want to pick on you for a sec. Am I able to put you on mic? Would you be able to? You can tell in the bottom left where that microphone is. You can type it, put it on if you want to. Can I pick on you?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Good to see you. How's pickleball?
Well, we'll have to talk about that, won't we?
Yes. So I just wanted to know, you know, it would help you with pickleball and running and that kind of thing. So I just want to know for everybody else and everybody else here, why is pickleball? Why is that so important to you?
It is the only sport I can do. I can't ride a bike. I can hardly walk, but I can stand and play pickleball, move from side to side. And if I could run, I could be better than you.
You're really good. That's awesome. So I want to know, like, for you, what have you done so far to like try to treat yourself or help with your issues? What have you done?
Oh, I have come to you many times to get exercises, and I swim a lot. But mostly I do stretching exercises. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. I think a lot of people, you know, can relate to know what you're seeing. You know, golfing's another one of those sports, pickleball, just running, walking for a lot of people are just moving to do like your, you know, whatever. You know, I see this all the time. It's a tough issue. There's a lot of functional things that the core can do to help protect or prevent issues or help you get back to doing what you love to do. And I see it all the time. And it's something I feel like I'm pretty successful at. And I hope we can give you guys some of that success here tonight. So that's great. Thanks, Phyllis, for going on mic there. So who is going to benefit from a core stability program? So for me, I like to, you know, although having a strong core can kind of help with everyone, I like to use a clinical prediction rule. That way, you know, those with mechanical low back specifically that are having issues, this is who will benefit for sure. So automatically, if you're under the age of 40, you are going to benefit from a core stability program. You guys can follow along and try these tests that I'm going to show you at home as well. So if you have any pain or any mobility issues with these next three that I'm going to show you, try them out, and then you will know that you're going to benefit from a stability program. So the first one I want to show you, it's called an aberrant movement test. So I'll show you kind of what it looks like. So like I said, if you have pain with this movement, you have trouble doing this, or you start climbing up, this is kind of a positive indication that yes, you will benefit from what I'm going to show you, okay? So what you're going to try at home is just bending forward, trying to touch your toes. And then I want you to come up from that position. So this is very tough. I hear a lot of times people bending over to pick up something off the floor, vacuuming, when you're doing dishes like this. It's so helpful. But if you have pain doing this, or you do this, and you have to climb your way back up your thighs like that, yes, you're going to benefit from a stability program. So you guys can go ahead and try that if you want at home. The next thing you can try, number 3, is called a prone instability test. So what you're going to do is you can use your bed or your table, floor if you're able to. You can go onto the table, and what you can try is just lying flat on the table, and I want you to try to lift your legs up to the ceiling. If that causes you pain, discomfort, or you're not even able to do it, then again, you're going to benefit from what I'm going to teach you with your core stability program. And then the final one, number 4, is called an active straight leg raise. So this is kind of our gold standard to test functional ability of the pelvis to transfer that force between the spine to the lower extremities. So what we're going to do is we're going to try this one out. And then again, if you have pain, discomfort, you're not able to do it, you're going to benefit from this. So I'll teach you this, and then we'll do some core exercises in a little bit, try to teach you how to stabilize that spot, and then we'll retest this. And if it's better doing this, then we know, yeah, core, let's do it. Okay, so you're going to try it this way. So what you're going to do with this one is kind of the opposite of the prone one. You know, lie on your back, and you're going to lift one leg up to the ceiling. If that causes you discomfort in your back or hips, then that's a positive sign. You can try both. Okay? So those you can try, okay? So that's how you know if you're a benefit, all right? So today, we're gonna build your core pyramid. So you can see the layers of your core, right? So the bottom layer is the core anatomy. So this is gonna be the foundation of your pyramid. It's knowing what makes up the core. So knowing what the core actually is, okay? Next, we're going to dive into those layers a little bit more. So we'll go into the core structure, starting with the inner unit and then moving to the outer unit and how to activate both. And then finally, after you're able to activate those core muscles efficiently, you'll learn how to control them with more functional tasks that you guys need to be doing. Your gardening, your pickleball, your walking, running, those kind of things. And then ultimately finishing at the top of the pyramid with a strong functional core. So here, we're going to jump into some anatomy of the core. If anybody has questions, feel free to ask as we're going. So there's 4 muscles of the inner unit, and you can kind of see how they work. They form a box of sorts. So you can see number 1 is your pelvic floor. So I always think about this. This is the bottom of the box. You can kind of see how it forms that basis. And I always say it's like when you're putting up a house, you have a foundation. Those of us that live in Easthill know our foundations are all wonky, right? Same thing. If you don't have a strong foundation, kind of everything else like has to work harder or doesn't do its job as efficient. Same with the core, right? The front of the box is called your TA, or your transverse abdominis. The number 3, the multifidus, is the back of the box. And the way I explain this is they're like when you see those big cranes and they have those little guide wires that anchor them to the ground. They're little guide wires from each segment the whole way up your spine, from your tailbone to your head, and they help stabilize the back of the box. That's your multifidus. And then finally, the top of the box is called your diaphragm, and that's just breathing, right? So a lot of people will hold their breath when they do these kind of things. So I'll teach you guys how to do that. But you can kind of see the diaphragm and the pelvic floor, they kind of work as a pump together. So they'll work together in tandem, okay? So that is your inner unit. your outer unit, it kind of builds and it's the next outer layer towards that inner unit. So I call them slings. So the sling is made up of a couple muscles and a couple bands of fascia or connective tissue. So the first one you see there is called your posterior oblique sling. So this is made up of your gluteus maximus and your contralateral lats or latissimus dorsi. So you can kind of see those green arrows. They form like an X over your back, over your pelvis. You see that? So that's how it snugs everything together and stabilizes it in that spot, okay? It kind of works like a smart spring. It stores and releases energy, especially with like walking and tasks that you have to do, okay? Number 2 is the lateral sling. This is made up of the gluteus medius minimus, so your deeper glute muscles, your ipsilateral adductors, so down the leg, in the inside of your leg or your groin, and then the contralateral or opposite side QL. So it essentially, what you're looking at is your glute on one side, your adductors, and then the opposite side QL. So it helps to stabilize, especially on one leg. Really important for walking, running, okay? Number 3 is called your anterior oblique sling. So it's very similar to the posterior oblique, except instead of being in the back, it forms an X into the front of the core. So that's made up of your adductors and then the same side obliques, internal obliques, and then your opposite external obliques. So there is a bit of a rotational component to your core. Some of us might not tolerate that rotation. So I'm going to teach you, I call it anti-rotation. So you're going to be resisting that rotation. I'll teach you that as we get into them, okay? And then number 4 is your deep longitudinal sling. So this works with your biceps femoris, so your hamstrings, and then they work in tandem with some of your muscles on the lower leg, below the knee. So that's like your peroneus longus and your tibialis anterior. And what that does is it basically creates a stable base or platform for you to work on, okay? So that is your slings in a nutshell. So the most common issues I see involving the core are back pain and instability. And it might not be a mechanical instability, meaning the spine, there's nothing really wrong there, but it's a functional instability. You're not able to control it, what's going on, okay? And then the other one is pelvic pain, SI joint pain. So you're unable to transfer those forces. We have 2 things that help stabilize your pelvis. I call one form closure and the other force closure. So form closure would be how the bones, how the ligaments, how the joints, how everything lines up in your pelvis. The other thing is called force closure, and that is how the muscles or the slings or the core stabilize that. And a lot of times you don't have that form closure, so you have to get that stability from somewhere. So that's where the core comes into play, to create that force closure. So I want to know, myth or fact? Type in the chat box if you guys want to. Sacroiliac belts or back belts will correct back pain. And then, yeah, let me know. Myth or fact? Type it in the chat. Jan, yours worked. That's good. Myth, 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 myth. Yeah, Jan, I'm glad that worked for you. That's good. Yeah, but so yes, sacroiliac belts, that's false. They can reduce some joint irritability. So Jan, in your case, it worked for that. But basically what they do is they mimic the inner unit muscles. So initially, yes, it may help a little bit for that irritation, but you only want to wear it for a short period of time, because it actually is shown that it can reduce some of the normal function of the pelvis, the SI joint, and of the lumbar stabilizing muscles, such as the ones we showed you earlier, the TA, the piriformis, glutes, the pelvic floor, okay? So short term, yes, it may be effective, but instead of having that belt to try to support you, you have to have your core doing it instead. Does that make sense, everyone? Yeah. Good job, guys. Okay. True or false? doing ab exercises will get rid of abdominal fat. Type in the chat box. True or false? No. False. False, Sally. Larry, false. Myth, false. I wish. Me too. Me too, Carolyn. Maybe a little, yeah. False. Hope, yeah. So you guys are right. You guys are smart. Like I think it's often, you know, people have a misconception around that. They think if I just go and do crunches for hours on end, I'm going to get rid of all that body fat, and it's actually false. So, you know, it's assumed that doing those exercises will get rid of the fat. Well, you know, doing core exercises will improve your endurance or strength. It's not going to burn a ton of fat in that area. To do that, you need to perform cardiovascular exercises to burn off that excess fat. So biking, walking, swimming, your guys' favorite activities that you do, right? So good job. Okay, one more. True or false? The core is another name for the abdominals. Type in the chat, guys. What do you think? Linda thinks yes. Sally thinks false. Larry, no. Jan, false, 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 maybe. Part of it. Carolyn, you're right. So yeah, the answer is false, guys. So the core does involve the abdominal muscles. That's correct. But it's a system of muscles that attach to the pelvis, attaches to the hips and the spine, and they functionalize as a system to stabilize that area. Good job. Oh, sorry, I had one more. True or false? Crunches are the best core exercise to strengthen the abs. What do you think? Some of you told me that was their favorite exercise. False, false, false. Not for me. Nope. Yeah, false. Nope. False are one exercise. Yeah, for sure. False. They're actually one of the least effective exercises. So even some of you that might have been doing those, yeah, it's fine to do it. But there's definitely more beneficial, more advantageous exercise that I'll show you that, you know, if you're maybe not getting the results that you're looking for, maybe we could add a couple different ones in that I'll show you. So, you know, and the reason being a crunch isn't really a functional movement that we do on a daily basis. You know, it's like, when are we doing that on a daily, right? It's rare. We don't really do that. And there's a lot better ones, like I said, to get more muscle recruitment, and I'll show you. So stay tuned for that, okay? We'll come up in a bit. Okay, so I just want to say, consult your doctor or talk to your physio and get an accurate diagnosis before you commence an individualized treatment plan. So go ahead and do that if you have any concerns. So I want to go over these first exercises with you guys now. So the first thing we're going to talk about is your inner unit, okay? The inner unit training. So think about those 4 muscles we talk about. Think about your box, okay? When you're doing these exercises, it's not a maximal voluntary contraction. It's not 100%. It's not max effort. I want you guys to think about 20, 30% when you're doing this, okay? And I want you to do high repetitions. I want you to do 10 reps, 10-second holds. They have to do a lot of endurance, right? So they have to be able to hold those positions for long periods of time, okay? So you have to do these inner unit exercises first before you progress to the outer unit, okay? You have to be able to do these well, having no issues, okay? Okay, so the first one I'm going to teach you is, I forgot who it was, but they knew this one, but I'm not going to put you on the spot. That's me. Okay, so the first one you're going to do, I'm going to go to the pelvic floor first, okay? So it's easiest, these are just variations. These are the most easy ways to figure them out, and they're activations, so we can do them, okay? So I'm going to show you how to do this. So what I want you guys to think of when you're doing the pelvic floor activation is laying on your back. You want to have your knees slightly bent. And remember how I said it's like your foundation, it's the bottom of the box? I think about it as it sits in a basket in your pelvis, so it sits low in here. Women will know them as Kegels. Men, I describe them as like trying to cut off the flow or using your P muscles. So what you want to think about is trying to pull them up and in. okay? So trying to snug them up and in or cutting off the flow. So you want to do that, and you guys can visualize that or try it at home and follow along with me. You're not going to see me do much, but you can feel it yourselves, and you want to hold that for 10 seconds, okay? So that is your pelvic floor. That's how I want you guys to practice that one, okay? The second one I want to talk about is the front of the box. That's called your TA, or your transverse abdominis. And there's 2 cues I want you to use for this one, okay? So I want you to think about, there's a string attached to your belly button, and it's trying to pull your belly button toward your spine or towards the table, okay? So that's step 1 to that. So trying to pull your belly button in. And if you want to feel it, you can put your hands on there to feel it. Step 2 is trying to think about your pelvis and your rib cage, trying to crunch them together. And it's not a crunch, it's more of a squeeze, okay? So belly button in, and then pelvis and rib cage squeeze together, okay? And hold that for 10 seconds, 10 times. Okay, that's the bottom and the front of the box. The back of the box, if you need to feel it, you can put your hand back there. It's kind of a good cue for yourself. That's your multifidus. So what I want you to think about with this one is, people will say pelvic tilt. If you know what a pelvic tilt is, it's kind of doing this motion. So yes, you can try to get it that way. The way I describe it is, think about you have a tail and you're trying to wag your tail up, and then you wag your tail up and try to push your back into the table. You should feel the muscles go right down the spine, like in the gutter of the spine. You should feel those get activated, okay? I have a lot of people that have a hard time with this one, trying to do exercise. They can't keep their back onto the table. So if you have trouble doing that, don't let your back arch, okay? Keep it onto the table. So that's the multifidus. And then finally, the top of the box is your diaphragm. So people used to think that if you held your breath, you increase that interthoracic pressure and it would actually help stabilize. It's actually not such a good technique to use. I want you guys to breathe while you do exercise. So when it's a hard maneuver, say I'm like extending my leg, you're gonna breathe out. When it's easy, breathe back in, okay? So don't hold your breath, okay? I say life's the key, don't hold your breath, okay? So that is your inner unit, okay, you guys? Anybody have questions about those? No, it's clear? Okay. So for those of you that we did that straight leg raise, or if you've tried it and you were having some back pain or weren't able to do it, so try it again. I want you to do that straight leg raise, just normal. And then what I want you to do is we're going to add all those 4 core activation things together, okay? And then we're going to retry it. So step 1, bring in using your Kegels, your P muscles, pulling them up and in, 30% of what you can do, okay? Step 2, belly button in, crunching, right? Step 3, wag the tail, back into the table. And then step 4, breathing. So I want you to stabilize that and then try and lift your leg. It should feel much easier, okay? If it does, great job. You're doing it correctly. You're going to benefit from this. Okay. Great work. So that's your inner unit. Okay. The outer unit, like I said, don't do the outer unit until you can do 10 sets or 10 reps and hold them for 10 seconds, each of those outer inner unit exercises, okay? So the next one we're going to look into is just one exercise. There's many, but these are some of my favorites for the outer unit training. So the posterior oblique sling. So we're using your glute max, your lats, and that's going to be, many of you know this one as a bird dog. So you're going to activate your inner unit as well while you do these, okay? But I'm going to show you how to do these ones. So with the bird dog, what you're going to do is try to think about, there's a glass of water on your back, and you're not going to let it spill, okay? So you want to keep it nice and flat, keep your core inner unit activated, and then you want to reach out and try to keep everything straight in line. A lot of people have trouble and they'll try to turn or rotate or try to do something weird. Try not to, right? You want to keep that stable, okay? Just like that. So a bird dog. So that's your first one. So that's how you're going to activate your your posterior oblique sling. The next one is your anterior oblique sling. So this one, I told you guys there was a bit of a rotational component to it. And yes, it's rotational, but we're going to resist that rotation so that everybody can tolerate it, okay? So this one, I call it like a bridge with a Pallof press, but I'll show you what it looks like. So if for those of you that have a band at home, it's really nice to use to help resist. So you can attach it to something outside of your body. And then what you want to do is, again, use your inner unit. You want to do a bridge, squeeze your glutes, and then push up against the band. So the band is trying to pull you into rotation. You're trying to resist that, okay? So you can do that. So bridge up and push up. It's better if the band pulls you straight lateral. But yeah, okay? So Pallof press. That's good. Number 3 is your lateral sling. So this is really good for when you're walking upstairs, like say you're carrying a suitcase kind of thing, right? So this one, I like to use a side plank, and we'll use our glutes like we talked about. So this one, what you're gonna do is, it's the same as a normal plank. However, you want to be on your side. Make sure, especially those of you, if you have any shoulder issues, try to tuck your shoulder right underneath of you. Don't get too far extended or else it'll be hard on your shoulder. What you want to do is bridge up from your knee, keep everything in line, okay? And what you want to do, if you can, is lift your leg up to the ceiling, okay? If that's hard, you can just do it like that, clamshell. Too easy, straighten it out and do the full plank, okay? So that is how you guys are gonna get your lateral sling. And then finally, number 4, your deep longitudinal sling. So what we're gonna do is a variation of a bridge. I call it a bridge walkout. So what you will do is find a slippery surface if you can. You're gonna do a bridge just like the Pallof press. However, what you're gonna do is slide both heels out. You wanna pull your toes up towards you and squeeze your glutes, squeeze your bum, squeeze your legs, and slide back. If that's very difficult, try doing one at a time, okay? But when you do this, don't let your hips rotate. You wanna keep everything in line. Stability is the key, guys. All right. So that is the exercises I want you to try for your outer unit. Any questions? Type in the chat if you guys have questions about that. And then we have just some motor control exercises. So everybody's going to get a PDF of these exercises if they need some clarification or anything, or feel free to just ask me. Valerie, any quick fixes for toe seizure when stretching the leg out? Toe seizure. Quick fixes for toe seizures. Depends. We don't have a flat bench. Is the floor okay? Floor is perfect, Larry. Go for it. You can use your bed, your floor, your couch, whatever you have. Valerie.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. What's your question? Quick fixes for toe?
I just stretched my leg out and all of a sudden my toe seizes up, and I identified it could be a possibility to do with this core thing. I had to ease back on stretching it, be very careful how I kept the position, and totally meditate and breathe to get out of it. It took probably about 10 or 15 minutes at 2 or 3 in the morning to get through.
Oh, really?
It. Yeah.
Yeah. Like a spasm kind of thing, yes?
Oh, yeah.
So was it the toe was getting, was it the big toe?
No, it's either the one beside the baby or the next one to it. It's those two right there seem to be just locked.
Okay. So did they pull up this way or did they pull down?
I had it before years ago. So.
Okay. And do they pull it up towards your knee or down towards your heel? Down. Okay. Something I like to do for that is just taking a tennis ball or a golf ball, rolling the bottom of your foot out, getting onto your toes. That can try and release some of those tight muscles in your foot, and it might help you that way. So that's something you could try.
I have massaged out of it before, so okay.
Good. That makes sense then, yeah. So try that. You can roll it out and massage the bottom of your foot, those tendons in your foot.
It's hard to run to the hospital, so I guess I'll work through it.
Yes. Okay. Hopefully that's helpful, Ellie.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Valerie. Okay. So after you guys are able to do your inner unit and your outer unit, the final step is being able to control everything with functional tasks. So you can see them here. I'm not going to go into them too much, but you can see usually we want to perform them with the upper extremity and the lower extremities, or one side versus the other. So you can see the first one, it's unilateral using the upper limb, right? So you can do a bird dog just with one arm or one arm tasks, okay? Then you progress to bilateral using both upper limbs. So just lifting the body off with like a Superman in that case. So that would be for your upper, okay? Upper limbs. Lower limbs, you want to start with one leg and then progress to two legs, doing, I call them dead bugs. So in a nutshell, essentially, you want to do one limb stuff first for upper and lower, and then you want to do two limb things after you're able to. That's a way for you guys to progress some of your own creative exercises. So that is our core pyramid, you guys. So we looked at the core anatomy, we found our foundation. You know, we looked at what is the core, our inner unit, our outer unit. We looked at just a couple muscle control, motor control exercise there. And ultimately, that's what's going to build you a strong functional core, all right? So I want to know, what is your biggest takeaway from the workshop, from the information there? Let's chat about it. Put it in the chat. I want to know. Type in the chat what you've learned, or maybe what you might do differently with the information you now have. Exercise. All the different layers to work on. Joanne, that's great. With some work, we can become stronger. Carolyn, you sure can. Everybody can benefit. Longer holds to focus on each exercise. Yeah, Sally, that's important. I think that, you know, that's something maybe some people miss is, yes, they're doing their core exercises, but they're not holding them for that 10-second period or that long period. The core is for endurance, right? Think about it. What do we have to do in a day? We're walking, we're using it nonstop, right? So having that endurance is super important. But the core anatomy is an X on the front and on the back. Yeah. X marks the spot. Think about it that way. The 𝗷𝗂. Clarification of the various layers plus specific exercise. Good information. You're welcome. That crunches are useless, Linda. Yeah, I mean, sometimes they work for people, but they wouldn't be my go-to exercise, that's for sure. Timing issues, right? Way different than doing crunches. Yes, it's more like how to snug everything up, right? Encouragement. Well, Larry, you're welcome. I'm glad. I hope this brings everyone some encouragement. You know, it's one of those things I often say, it's not an overnight fix. Usually with these ones, it's a progressive thing where you just got to gradually build through them. But I think many of you can attest, and you know, like Phyllis was talking about earlier, she's been working on some of that core exercise, and she's back playing pickleball now, which is amazing. So I hope you guys can all, you know, progress that a little bit. It takes some time, but you'll see the hard work, you'll pay off for sure. Any sport-specific exercises, like for biking? Yeah, Sally, those core ones are, you know, for biking, it's the same idea, right? As for you, a good one for biking, to simulate biking on the core, would be, I call it a bicycle. So basically, it's like a dead bug or a bicycle. So Same activations like we've talked about, but trying to do some rotational things. It simulates how you would do biking or how you would go on a bike, yes? So a dead bug would be great for you, or I call it a bike. So that would be a great sport specific. You're welcome. Are you going to send us those exercises via email? Yes, Larry, we will for sure send you that. So we'll send you the PDF with all those exercises on them. They'll have the reps, the sets, how often you should do those kind of things. So yeah, you'll get those for sure. And then we will also, we will post this workshop. So if you want to go back and take a look at things, you can go to our Easthill Physio YouTube channel and you can check it out. And you can have a look again. Are Kegels that important? Linda, yeah, I would say they're quite important. I know our pelvic floor physio, Chenoa, she did a workshop on just specifically the pelvic floor. And you guys can go check that out on our Easthill Physio channel as well. She goes into a lot of those kind of exercises. So go check that one out if you haven't already. But yeah, I would say Kegels are quite important for sure. Awesome. Okay, so next steps for everyone. We're going to answer some burning questions in a minute. But if you feel like you have a specific question regarding you can ask in a second. Or if you're wondering, what would be appropriate for you, what you're dealing with, you can type core in the chat box and I can follow up with you directly with a 15-minute phone call. So if you guys have some burning questions, or you feel like, there's just something else here and you need a little bit more eyes on, feel free, type core in the chat and I'll follow up with you. And then I'll give you a call and we'll arrange something so that, we can be a little bit more specific and we can talk about a few things. So go ahead and type that if you guys need that, okay? Degenerative disc disease, Bev. Yeah, I think, Bev, this kind of all these core things, start with the inner unit, okay? Start with that stuff. I know sometimes with that stuff, you can have some soreness and pain, right? So if you have any of that, start with the inner unit and just gradually progress and build up to that outer unit stuff, okay? Thanks. You're welcome, Sally. Next time. So if you haven't heard enough today and you want to know that physio is something you want to try, you can call or book with us online or any of our other physios at our Sterling location or at 26th Street. Watch your emails for the next couple of days to the links to the video recordings of today's workshops. And like you said, get the exercise PDFs. Also, please be sure to take the post-workshop survey if you guys wouldn't mind. That would help us out a lot. It'll be in the email as well. So this, really helps us improve our workshops, make them better. And I want to find out from you guys what you want to see for future topics. I got a couple cooking right now, but I want to know if there's any other ones you guys have in mind. And speaking of future topics, we're kind of going to take a bit of a break during the summer because I know you guys get busy with all your activities, and I hope these core exercises will keep you fit, keep you being able to do those. But keep a lookout for our next upcoming workshop in September. We're going to go into some sciatica. So if you had sciatica in the past, or if anybody, keep an eye out for those. That will be coming up next, okay? So I want to open it up for some of your burning questions now. So if you want, type in the chat, or you can go on mic if you guys have any specific questions. Sylvia, you're welcome. Very helpful. You're welcome. So if you guys have any questions, have a great evening, John. See you guys. Bye, Jim. Anybody have other questions they want to ask?
Bryden.
Larry, go ahead, sir.
I've taken to raising both legs 6 inches off the floor. I've been doing it off and on for a couple of years.
Yep.
Any reason I shouldn't continue that?
Does it cause you any issues there, like pain in your back or anything like that?
No, it hasn't.
No, then go for it. I think that's a great exercise. That's probably harder than some of the exercises I showed you already. As long as you're able to, keep your back onto the table and not let it arch up, then yeah. I think you're probably doing okay with that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because I start by putting my back right flat against the floor and then go from there. It's something I learned. something I learned many years ago, and I just sort of reactivated it a couple of years ago.
Awesome. It kind of just planted the.
Yeah, I curl in the wintertime, so
Awesome.
I like to try and keep my balance anyway.
Being on that ice, that's going to be tricky for sure. Well, that's good. Yeah, keep doing those, Larry. That sounds great. Go ahead. Laura, you're welcome. Encouraging. You're welcome. Anybody else have any questions before we head out for the evening? Thanks for the very informative session. Cheers. See Tiffany on other issues. Great, Linda. I just saw Tiff. I'll tell her you said hi. Okay, everyone. Well, like I said, I hope everybody learned something and took something away from this core workshop. I know I enjoyed seeing all of you and seeing the familiar faces and some new faces. So if you have any concerns, questions, feel free, just give us a call or send us an email, whatever you guys need. We're here to help you, okay? If the only discomfort is prone raises, specific exercises, M&T, Melnick. Yeah, so prone raises, it depends. It's just basically a sign of instability, functional instability somewhere. So for you, probably do the whole inner unit first, but then things where you're on your stomach or knees, into these kind of positions, that's where that instability comes from. So doing those is good. Stabilization. So go ahead and try some of those if you have time. Hey everyone, great job. I'm excited to hear from everybody and see what activities you guys are all up to this summer. If you have any issues, you know where I live, come find me. Okay, we'll talk soon, everyone. Great job. Okay, cheers, everyone. Bye.